Why did Sid like to mistreat toys? Who are his parents? What was his childhood like? What did he work with, and where is Sid right now? These questions and many others I'll answer for you now in this video. Let's go. You're more than welcome to Cine lovers, and today we're going to talk about the full story of a kid who caused a lot of talk in Toy Story. Let's start right away by talking about Sid's name. Sid is obviously short for Sydney, and his full name is Sid Phillips. He lived with his sister Hannah, his parents, and his dog Scud. In Toy Story, we see that he is around 11 years old, and he loved blowing up toys and even swapping toy parts, like taking the head off one and putting it on another's body. And that must hurt like hell for the toys. Sid didn't know the toys were alive, but they were, and just imagine the pain of having your arm or head ripped off. Woody was in serious pain just from being burned by the sunlight. Imagine that. Well, Sid was a different kind of kid compared to the others we see in Toy Story, even compared to Andy himself, who was the same age. While Andy cared for and played with his sister and went out with his family to Pizza Planet, Sid was taking his sister's dolls, swapping their body parts, being rude to his mom, and smashing everything he touched at Pizza Planet. But why was Sid so violent and angry like that? He had a family, a house, everything he could want. Well, here's what I think. Sid didn't get the kind of affection from his parents that he needed. In my opinion, besides not receiving much love from his parents during childhood, Sid also didn't get their attention, and that's something really important for a kid. Sid's mom was trying to be a good mom. She was even making snacks for him. She wanted to be closer to her son, but his father was very absent. We only see him once, lying on the couch and drinking a bunch of cans that appear to be juice, but were actually beer. They showed juice in the movie because a lot of kids would be watching. His dad left cans all over the floor, papers thrown everywhere, and there was even a deer head mounted on the wall. Plus, the wallpaper in the room had ducks on it. Deer and ducks are two of the most hunted animals during hunting season. This suggests that Sid's father is a hunter. Maybe part of this obsession with hunting toys and ripping their heads off came from his dad. The father did that with real animals, and Sid did it with toys. That's just my opinion, but it makes sense, right? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Well, with so many toys he had, Sid used to play doctor, and he thought it was the coolest thing ever to rip off arms, heads, and legs from one toy and put them on another, and in fact, all of Sid's toys went through that. One day, the boy Sid Phillips went to Pizza Planet, and in one of the games he played, he ended up winning an alien, and along with it came Buzz and Woody. Well, not exactly a prize. While Woody was doing everything he could to escape the alien rocket, Buzz was just chilling, and the duo ended up at Sid's house. When they got home, Sid gave the alien to his dog, who ended up mauling the poor alien. But that doesn't necessarily mean Sid was evil at that point. He didn't know toys were alive. To him, they were just lifeless objects, so he just gave Brutus a toy to play with. When we first see Sid's room, we notice a bunch of rock band posters and musicians on the walls, which becomes important later on. We also see that he has a toolbox filled with various tools, probably even his dad's toolbox. Sid also keeps a matchbox, a drill, and 2 knives in his room. These are not things a child should be playing with, right? He urgently needed a psychiatrist. Sid might have learned a lot of bad habits from his dad and maybe didn't get much love and affection from his parents, but he did have a softer side. He once dreamed about ponies. Right after that dream, he wakes up super excited because he's about to blow up Buzz. So, Sid performs this whole ritual to light the match and everything, and meanwhile, the toys, under Woody's command, are preparing to give him a little scare. Then starts a scene that for us is funny, but for Sid is traumatizing. Woody starts saying things he's never said before, and Sid thinks he's broken or defective. Then Woody keeps talking until he and all the other toys come to life and start walking towards Sid. Just look at that kid's face, the panic he's in. Imagine you're there breaking your toys, and out of nowhere, they tell you to stop doing that. I'd probably run away just like Sid. And you? Let me know in the comments. Right when he gets back home, his sister Hannah is holding a doll, and it's clear that he's terrified of toys. toys. The kid who used to torment them is now completely traumatized by them. And after that, we never see Sid Phillips again, right? Wrong. Sid actually appears again in Pixar productions. For a few years, 2 or 3, Sid was so traumatized he didn't even want to look at a toy. And he started to go a little crazy, even more than before. In fact, he's the only person in the entire Pixar universe who knows that toys are alive. No one else knows this. And Sid kept telling everyone, the toys are alive, they're going to take over the world. He was traumatized, and no one believed him. That's when Sid decided to fight back against the toys and against everyone who didn't believe him. Sid claimed that toys would take over the world and that they were dangerous. And since no one believed him, he did something drastic. He invaded the world of Monsters Incorporated. Wait, what? Let me explain. Every kid in the Pixar universe has their own monster. And Sid had one too, a monster that came to scare him regularly. I even figured out who Sid's monster is, and I made a video about it. Check out that card when this video ends. Well, there are several comic books telling stories about Pixar characters, official ones from Disney and Pixar in partnership with Boom Studios. And in 2 of these editions, we see Sid invading the monster world. How did it happen? Sid had a mission to steal as many toys as he could so that what happened to him wouldn't happen to other kids. Since he was traumatized, he believed the toys were evil and he wanted to protect the children, to stop toys from hurting them. Now, since his monster came regularly through the door to scare him, Sid thought, if this monster is coming to scare me, there must be more monsters scaring other kids, and they go through doors into kids' rooms. So if I go through multiple rooms, I can steal toys from each one and save the kids. That's what he thought. And since Sid is pretty crafty, one day when his monster came to scare him, he slipped through the door and entered the monster world. That's what I call a crossover. Right after that, Mike and Sully saw Sid running through the factory and started chasing him. Sid ended up in Boo's room and stole Jessie. Yes, that Jessie from Toy Story. Pixar universe is amazing. Everyone remembers that in the first Monsters Incorporated movie, we see a Jessie doll in Boo's room. That's the one Sid stole. Then he escapes with Jessie, but the CDA, Child Detection Agency, catches him and sends him back home. And get this, Sid was so sneaky that, besides saving the kids and stealing toys, he was planning to sell the toys too. Wanting revenge on Mike and Sully, in the next issue of the Monsters Incorporated comics, Sid returns to the monster world and even releases Mr. Waternoose and Randall from prison. 2 others who also wanted revenge on Mike and Sully. What the heck, Sid? But Sid's plan was terribly executed, and all 3 of them ended up being caught by the CDA. Sid grew up, matured, and left behind his life of breaking, stealing, and selling toys. Thankfully, that phase was over. He started working as a garbage man, and we actually see him picking up trash bags in Toy Story 3. He's wearing a black t-shirt with the same skull print and listening to heavy rock. Remember how his bedroom walls were full of rock band posters? It all makes sense now. And to me, in that trash scene, he's listening to a song from his own band. Wait, are you saying Sid became a garbage man and had a rock band at the same time? Yes! Around the time of Toy Story 3, his band was still just starting out and not yet famous, but he really wanted it to work. He's always been into rock music. Sometime later, he and his band found success. He quit his job as a garbage collector and focused on his music. But fame went to his head, and he started making bad choices again, worse than before. Sid began abusing substances, and not long after his band took off, Sid died. And believe it or not, we actually see Sid dead in Coco. He's participating in the talent show and wearing his iconic black skull t-shirt. We also see several instruments around him, and since he's alone, there's a laptop next to him playing the backing tracks. He wouldn't be able to play all the instruments at once. Such a sad and heavy ending for Sid. A boy who grew up unloved, a toy destroyer who later stole and sold toys, broke the 2 biggest Monsters Inc. villains out of prison, then tried to turn his life around with honest work as a garbage man, found success with his band, but lost control again and tragically passed away young. That's Sid Phillips. If you love discovering the backstories of these characters, click on these videos now and binge them all. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video here on Cine Lovers.